हेलो माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, कैसे हैं आप लोग। उम्मीद करती हूँ आप सब अच्छे होंगे। चैप्टर नंबर 16, बुक ऑफ फायर, फ्रॉम द बुक थीफ, रिटन बाय मार्कस यूजैक। बुक ऑफ फायर. The dark came in pieces, and with the cigarette brought to an end, Liesel and Hans Hummerben began to walk home. To get out of the square, they had to walk past the bonfire site and through a small side road onto Munich Street. They didn't make it that far. A middle-aged carpenter named Wolfgang Edel called out. He did build the platforms for the Nazi big shots to stand on during the fire, and he was in the process now of pulling them down. Hans Huberman, he had long sideburns that pointed to his mouth and a dark voice, Hansi. They Wolfal, hey Wolfal. Hans replied. There was an introduction to the girl and a Hail Hitler. Good Liesel. For the first few minutes, Liesel stayed within a 5-meter radius of the conversation. Fragments came past her, but she didn't pay too much attention, getting much work. No, it's all tighter now. Mm, you know how it is, especially when you are not a no, you are not a member. You told me you are joining Hansi. I tried, but I made a mistake. I think they will still considering. Liesel wandered towards the mountain of ash. It sat like a magnet, like a freak, irresistible to the eyes, similar to the road of yellow stars. As with her previous urge to see the mounds in ignition, she could not look away. All along, she didn't have the discipline to keep a safe distance. It sucked her towards it, and she began to make her way around. Above her, the sky was completing its routine of darkening, but far away, over the mountain's shoulder, there was a dull trace of light. Pass of kind. A uniform said to her at one point, "Look out, child," as he shoveled some more ash onto a cart. Closer to the town hall, under a light, some shadows stood and talked, most likely exalted in the success of the fire. From Liegel's positions, their voices were only sounds, not words at all. For a few minutes, she watched the men shoveling up the pile, at first making it smaller at the sides to allow more of it to collapse. They came back and forth from a truck, and after 3 return trips, when the heap was reduced near the bottom, a small section of living material slipped from inside the ash. The material, half a red flag, 2 posters advertising a Jewish poet, 3 books, and a wooden sign with something written on it in Hebrew. Perhaps they were damp. Perhaps the fire didn't burn long enough to fully reach the depth where they sat. Whatever the reason, they were huddled amongst the ashes, shaken survivors. 3 books. Liesel spoke softly, and she looked at the backs of the men. "Come on," said one of them. "Hurry up, will you? I am starving." They moved towards the truck. The 3 of books poked their noses out. Liesel moved in. The heat was still strong enough to warm her when she stood at the foot of the ash heap. When she reached in, her hand was bitten, but on the second attempt she made sure she was fast enough. She latched onto the closest of the books. It was blue and burned at the edges, but otherwise unhurt. The cover felt like it was woven with hundreds of tightly drawn strings and clamped down. Red letters were pressed into those fibers. The only word Liesel had time to read was shoulder. There wasn't enough time for the rest, and there was a problem: the smoke. Smoke lifted from the cover as she juggled it and hurried away. Her head was pulled down, and the sick beauty of nerves proved more ghastly with each stride. There was 14 steps till the voice. It propped itself up behind her. Hey, that was when she nearly ran back and tossed the book onto the mound, but she was unable. The only movement at her disposal was the act of turning. There was some things here that it didn't burn. It was one of the cleanup man. He was not facing the girl, but rather the people standing by the town hall. Well, burn them again, came the reply, and watch them burn. I think we are wet. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, do I have to do everything myself? The sound of footsteps passed by. It was the mayor wearing a black coat over his Nazi uniform. He didn't notice the girl who stood absolutely still, only a short distance away. A realization. A statue of the book thief stood in the courtyard. It's a very rare, don't you think, for a statue to appear before its subject has become famous. She sank, the thrill of being ignored. The book felt cool enough now to slip inside her uniform. At first, it was nice and warm against her chest. As she began walking, though, it began to heat up again. By the time she made it back to Papa and Wolfgang Edel, the book was starting to burn her. It seemed to be igniting. Both men looked in her direction. She smiled. Immediately, when the smile shrank from her lips, she couldn't feel something else, or more to the point, someone else. There was no mistaking the watched feeling. It was all over her, and it was confirmed when she dared to face the shadows. Over at the town hall, to the side of the collection of silhouettes, another one stood a few meters removed, and Leisure realized two things: a few small pieces of recognition, the shadow identity, and the fact that it had been seen everything. The shadow's hand were in his coat's pockets. It had fluffy hair. If it had a face, the expression on it would have been one of injury. God wonderment, Leisure said, only loud enough for herself. God damn it. Are we ready to go? In the previous moments of stupendous danger, Papa had said goodbye to Wolfgang Edel and was ready to accompany Leisure home. Ready, she answered. Ready? She answered. They began to leave the scene of the crime, and the book was well and truly burning her now. The shoulder shrug had applied itself to her ribcage. As they walked past the previous town hall shadows, the book thief winced. What's wrong? Papa asked. Nothing, quite a few things, however, were most definitely wrong. Smoke was rising out Leisure's collar. A necklace of sweat had formed around her throat. Beneath her skirt, a book was eating her up. यहाँ पे होता है हमारा चैप्टर नंबर 16 फिनिश. पार्ट 3 में हम स्टार्ट करेंगे द वे होम, फीचरिंग है पार्ट 3 के द वे होम, अ ब्रोकन वुमन, a struggler, a juggler, the attributes of summer, a Aryan shopkeeper, a snorer, two tricksters, and revenge in the shape of mixed lollies. यहाँ पे हमारा पार्ट 2 और चैप्टर नंबर 16 फिनिश हुआ है. पार्ट 3 मेन कैंप, द वे होम, चैप्टर नंबर 70. Thank you, my friends, dear friends, and bye for now. Thank you very much. Bye. The Book Thief, Marcus Zusak.